Me 25 male, with my wife 23 female. She informs me at sister's wedding she had slept with best man long. The passage of time is crucial in this situation. For the last 3 years, we have been married. Before to that, we had been together for 2 years prior to that. Almost 5 years have passed since we began dating. Her sister got married 2 weekends ago, and my wife was of course in attendance as a guest. As you would expect, she devoted the 2 weeks running up to the wedding to aiding her sister in getting everything ready for the occasion. The fact that she kept me informed and alerted me that this was going to happen didn't pose a major problem. She took time off work from Wednesday to Friday to support her, and she stayed with her for a total of 3 days at that period. I'm sure I'm familiar with her sister, but I'm not familiar with the guy who is now my brother-in-law. I've only seen him a few times, but he seems to be a kind person. Because I didn't want to interrupt her day because I knew she was busy, I arrived a few hours before the ceremony in the hopes of catching a few minutes with her. We hadn't seen one another since Tuesday, so I wasn't expecting much. It is around this time that she observes me outside her parents' house and sends her brother out to tell me that she would meet me at the car. Which, to be honest, I thought was odd, but whatever. Finally, she comes out and sits next to me, kisses me on the cheek. But instead of being excited to see me or anything, she tells me that she needs to talk with me and doesn't want to ruin her sister's day by interrupting her. When I ask whether I should go to the reception, she says that if I go, I could overhear anything about the best man and her, and she doesn't want me to feel uncomfortable or strange. I just sat there staring at the ceiling, perplexed. She said that she had a brief affair with him around 4 years ago and that it didn't mean anything. But she was aware that I am a natural, jealous person, and she wanted me to be aware of this so that if anything happened, I wouldn't be taken by surprise. My response was to just sit there. This was not how I had anticipated my morning to unfold, but I told her I appreciated her letting me know and that it wasn't a big deal anymore. She walked back inside the house, and I left to have some lunch before meeting her at the church on Saturday. At some point when I'm eating and checking my phone, it comes to me that she indicated she had had an affair with him 4 years ago, even though we've been together for 5 years. Initially, I dismissed it, assuming it was a case of her telling me the wrong thing at an inopportune time. But after further consideration, I realized that about 1.5 years into our relationship, she went through a period in which she was extremely sketchy about her behavior, wasn't available when she normally was, and went on 2 weekend camping trips with work friends. Without a doubt, I'm anxious about it, but I'm also aware that I have a long day ahead of me. The wedding is my first time attending, and I want to sit and observe everything. Following the ceremony, there will be a line where you may go through and express your congratulations to the bride and groom, as well as the rest of the wedding party. Although my wife was standing with another man, whom I had no prior knowledge of, and I didn't know who he was, the best man was there, so I just walked down the line as if it wasn't a big deal. When you get at the reception, it takes long for them to arrive due to photos. She eventually arrives and takes a seat next to me. I opted not to say anything since I didn't want to detract from the events of the day. Instead of simply letting it go, she informs me that all of the groomsmen and bridesmaids will be dancing, and that she will be dancing with him. When I asked why she wasn't his partner for the celebration, she said that the maid of honor and her partner were married and wanted to dance together. At this time, I'm more than irritated, but I try not to show it. Fortunately, I was wise enough not to drink since, as I readily acknowledge, I'm an angry drunk who knows when not to even participate. She converses with everyone around her, and then the dance begins, and he approaches, offers his arm, and she stands up. I try not to watch, and I make an effort not to. She returns with him in tow, and they are laughing like best friends. She chooses to introduce us, and although I didn't tell him to F off like I wanted to, my welcome to him was definitely less than courteous. It didn't stop him from sitting and conversing with her for a few minutes, however. The more they sat and spoke about past times and places, the angrier I became. I eventually got up and went to the restroom, and when I returned, he had vanished. She chose to inform me that she felt I was disrespectful, which was not what I needed to hear right now. I informed her that now was not the time or place to discuss it, but that we would discuss it later. She sat there and then claimed she was going to change clothes, and when she returned, she told her sister that we were leaving since I had destroyed her day, but she didn't want me to ruin her sister's day as well. Then I told her that since I was confident in my ability to not cause any difficulty for either her or her sister for the rest of the day, and because I didn't want to be the source of any trouble, I'd like to simply stay. She stormed out of the room to change her clothes, then returned in a fury. Please keep in mind that I didn't say anything to her, and that I even shook the other guy's hand before walking away. I believe she was evaluating me based on how depressed I seemed. Her desire to go remained unyielding, so I informed her that if she genuinely wanted to depart, we could depart. But if she desired to remain, I would be delighted to do so. And if she desired to depart because I had come in my own car, I would leave so that she might remain. She proposed that we stay for a while, but then she remarked that if I couldn't act any better, I should be removed from the situation. In response to my inquiry as to how I was behaving, she responded that it was obvious that I was acting like a silverback gorilla that was hungry for battle. I couldn't make up my mind whether to laugh at her or be annoyed with her. I returned and took a seat as she continued to speak with the other visitors. She and I had a brief conversation with her brother before returning to our seat to chat with her grandma. We both departed at the same time, and I arrived at my destination immediately before she did. I was sitting in the living room, waiting for her, when she came in and didn't hold back her vehemence. I just asked her to retell me the story of this other individual, and she did it verbatim, down to the last detail. My response was simple: "Are you certain about the time frame?" I had been sitting and staring at her for a long time. She responded affirmatively. I then informed her that we had been together for 5 years and that this fling had happened more than a year into our relationship. She seemed surprised. It's tough to put into words what happened after that. Instead of getting irritated or denying anything, she just said, "I understand." In response to my question, she explained that they worked together and that it was just a physical thing because she felt like we weren't in a good place at the time, and that she never had any feelings for him and never had any real intentions of leaving me. She was just having some fun for a few weekends, she explained, though she confessed to herself that informing me at this time was probably a mistake on her side. She didn't want me to be taken off guard. Apparently, I didn't take it in the manner she had anticipated. We got into a large argument that ended when she informed me that I was behaving like a child about everything I was doing. Our marriage was long ago, and our current lives have nothing to do with him or that particular period. There are 2 things to consider. One issue with which I strongly disagree has no bearing on our lives in any way. Despite the fact that she cheated on me, she doesn't have the goddamn decency to be sorry for it. 2, when I'm upset about anything, I dislike being told that I'm being childish. It upsets me much since it is her method of asserting her superiority over me. When I said that I needed some time to ponder, she responded by saying that there was nothing for me to think about at the moment. This had no effect on the fact that we were in love with one another. That occurred 2 weeks ago, and I haven't gotten over the experience yet. The past several days, she's been pleading with me to communicate with her. Yet, for some reason, I'm not viewing her in the same light that I used to. Although this happened some years ago, we are now married, and there haven't been any complications. A part of me believes it's a dumb decision. Nonetheless, there's a part of me that believes she has cheated on me. And it hurts like a mother F. What's worse, she is attempting to shame me into not even thinking about it, rather than attempting to understand how I feel in the first place. I'm completely at a loss on what to do. Please accept my apologies for the length of this letter. I probably could have edited out some of the wedding-related content, but it just came out all at once.